So let's get started. I'm Dimitris Vougioukos. As the host said, I'm coming from NetCompany. I'm the application security services lead for the organization. NetCompany is a leading IT and digital transformation company that is based in Copenhagen. We have 8,000 employees around Europe, right? And we are delivering some most critical digital transformation projects in both public and private sector. Here at the Southeast, we are a major hub for NetCompany to deliver digital solutions across Europe, right? So we work with clients to transform their business or existing applications. And we also have a dedicated cybersecurity department that, among other things, focuses also on building secure software, right? This is what we do with my team on a day-to-day basis. We collaborate with developers, DevOps, and product management, right, to ensure a secure product or a secure application for our clients. In the recent years, our focus has shifted towards supporting our clients and the projects internally, right, to prepare for the next generation of cybersecurity regulations. One of those is the Cyber Resilience Act, for those who have heard it. And this is what I wanted to take some time today to give an update on, right? Because this is more or less coming our way for those that are in the trade of building software, right? Either as a developer or DevOps or even a security professional. So the big picture behind the Cyber Resilience Act, the EU Cyber Resilience Act, it's basically born out of a simple but stark reality. Many of the digital products that we have, also in the EU market, right, many times comes with serious vulnerabilities, albeit preventable vulnerabilities, right? So, and this is where the EU now steps in, saying that security, right, is not something that is a choice of a vendor, right? So we have to make the products for the societal well-being mandatory, right? So it has to be secure by design and secure by default. So if you are a manufacturer, importer, software developer, then the CRA applies to you. And if someone would think that this only applies to hardware devices or IoT devices, then we should be informed and aware that it applies to digital products, as the connected digital products, as the regulation says, which is basically a series of IoT, web applications, hardware devices, cloud services, and basically it touches many of the product offerings, the digital product offerings that are actually circulated and are being used within the European Union. So now if we look at the scope, right, so what does it cover? So where things are going to happen and apply in the near future. We have three main buckets that are being defined by the Cyber Resilience Act. The vast majority of the products falls under the default category, right, which basically describes or expects us to do a self-assessment to prove that we actually comply with the Resilience Act. And then we move to the other two buckets, right, where we have two classes of critical products, right, class 1 and class 2, where basically we are looking into products where if there's a failure when it comes to their security posture, right, then those will have more consequences. So basically here the Cyber Resilience Act is trying to ensure that as we have higher risk in a digital product, right, then we are also getting higher assurance by default, right? So this is mandated. If we look now at the timeline, so the Cyber Resilience Act went into force in late 2024, right? Which means that the clock is ticking until it finally gets into force. The next major milestone is towards September 2026, where the vulnerability reporting requirement of the regulation will go into force, meaning that every vendor, right, that is subject to the CRA will have to disclose actively exploited vulnerabilities in their products to the CSIRT of their national CSIRT and NISA. And finally, in 2027, right, we have the full enforcement of the CRA, which means that we have almost 2 years until we are fully compliant with the Cyber Resilience Act, and then we can also prove it to the EU regulator. So what's sort of brewing along the road, right? So what are the updates that I also wanted to share here today, and then you can take with you, and of course you can look in more detail. The harmonized standard work is underway. As we saw, the Class 1 and Class 2 products, as they are categorized by the Cyber Resilience Act, they will need to conform to some standards, right? And in some cases, this should also be a third-party assessment, right, of conformance to the standards. So the European Commission have employed the European certification organization and the electrotechnical organization in partnership with ETSI, and they have mobilized 250 experts to prepare these standards, and we expect those as soon as August 2026 to be in place, right? We have also had from ENISA work that specifies more concretely what the Cyber Resilience Act requirements mean in terms of security controls, right? So threat modeling, vulnerability management, SBOM creation. So they have produced studies to actually translate these requirements into technical control reality for product manufacturers and the rest of the actor ecosystems that are going to be subject, and they will have to respond and ensure that the products are compliant to the Act. And we have also had a clarification around the 24-hour vulnerability reporting requirement that the CRA brings. So basically, when the first draft of the Act came to public, there was a debate whether someone would have to report a vulnerability when it's actually fully confirmed, when they actually understand it. So there has been some legal practitioner work along the way that has clarified that product manufacturer, at the point that they become aware of an actual exploited vulnerability, then they should report it to their CSIRT or ENISA, right? Which means that vulnerability management processes, security incident response processes, right? They have to act faster, or perhaps they need to be transformed to be able to fulfill and comply to this notification window that the regulation brings. And finally, open source ecosystems are also preparing tooling. The Cyber Resilience Act, after a long discussion, has mostly excluded open source software and maintainers from its requirements, right? But there are still some open source software, especially those that may have to support critical products and the critical products type 2 under the Resilience Act, right? So we have foundations like the Eclipse Foundation that are preparing tooling to equip the open source projects, maintainers, and project teams, right, to be able to fulfill the requirements. And more concretely, they're creating tooling to create SBOMs, processes for vulnerability management, right, and governance templates for this open source project ecosystem, right, to be able to catch up and eventually help their users to comply with the Resilience Act. So if we turn this into practical reality for developers and DevOps, basically here security by design means that they will have to do threat modeling, secure coding. If we think about secure by default, they will have the products to have hardware configurations out of the box. They will have to have a lifecycle security that deliver patches and has a responsibility for long-term responsibility. And basically also ensure transparency through SBOMs and technical security documentation. If we want to start now, right, then we should basically classify our products, understand if we fall in the default category or the critical product category, right? So that means a lot. We should start documenting our processes, prepare a vulnerability management plan if we don't have any, and we should also build compliance into our CI/CD pipelines. And here I think that for the most teams that already do DevSecOps, they have in a large percentage extent, right, compliance with the CRA. So that wouldn't be a difficult task. And I'm closing this brief update by saying that the CRA brings a cultural shift, right? So security becomes a feature, not an afterthought. And basically the Cyber Resilience Act, the EU regulator says that if you're doing good work, then please prove it to me, and then we can also ensure that the societal well-being within the EU can be maintained, and we can have trust in digital products. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dimitris.